Good day, everyone! So for today's video, pag-uusapan niya natin ang circle. But of course, kung bago ka nga lang sa aking YouTube channel, please do not forget to hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell para lagi kayong updated sa mga bago kong uploads. And of course, for this video, pag-uusapan natin ang circle na kung saan tayo po ay nakafocus sa standard form of equation of a circle and how to determine the center and radius of the circle. But of course, before we proceed to our discussion, let us define first what is a circle. So when we say circle, it's the set of all points equidistant from a fixed point, which is called as the center. Now, as you can see in our figure in the right side of your screen, circle is made up of many points. No? Based on this figure, as you can see, these are the points of the circle. Okay? And those points that you have here, of course, this is also the points. All points are equidistant from the center. Mean to say, all of the points here are equal distance from the center. The segment that connects the radius and one point of the circle is called as the radius. So, there are two types of the standard form of the equation of the circle. First up, the center is not in the origin, or we call this as HK, wherein H serves as the X, K serves as the Y. So this is the standard form of the equation of a circle whose center is not in the origin. So that is the quantity of x minus h squared plus the quantity of y minus k squared is equal to r squared. And of course, if the center is at the origin, or we can say that this is 0, 0, the equation is x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared. So these two standard form of the equation will help us to identify the standard form of the equation of a circle. And of course, these two standard form of the equation of the circle will help us to identify the center and the radius of the circle. Here are the first example. If a circle has a center at 2, 3 and radius of 4, what is the equation of the circle? The first question here is that where is the center located? Is it in the origin or not in the origin? Yes, that is not in the origin. As you can see, based on the given that we have here, the center is at 2, 3. So meaning it's not in the origin. And of course, the radius of the circle is 4. So these are the givens that we have. Now, since the center of the equation is not in the origin, we're going to use this equation. Remember, in center, x will serve as the h and y will serve as the k. So what we're going to do, we will just simply plug in all the data to the equation. When we say plug in, we're going to substitute all the givens in the equation. So here, we're going to change the x by 2. And of course, k will be changed by 3. and r will be changed by 4. And of course, we will simplify this 4 squared. As we all know, 4 squared is, that's it. That is 16. So therefore, this is now the standard equation of the circle. Another example, if a circle has a center at 0 and -3 and a radius of 6, what is the equation of the circle? Of course, the first question here is that, where is your center? Is it in the origin or not in the origin? That's it. It's not in the origin. So therefore, once again, we're going to use this equation. Again, we're going to use this equation. It's just because the center is not in the origin. As you can see in our given, the center is at 0, -3. Remember, your h is the 0 and k is the -3. So again, what we're going to do is just simply plug in all the datas or all the givens in the equation. So as you can see, I changed the I changed the h by 0, I changed the k by 3, and I changed the r by 6. Now, since your h is 0, probably we can rewrite this given, this x given, into x squared. And of course, since you have two negatives here, what you're going to do is to distribute the negative outside to inside. That's why it now becomes y plus 3. So once again, if your h is 0 or your k is 0, automatically that your x there and y there will now be into squared. So therefore, this is now the standard form of the equation of the circle. Another example that we have here is that, what is the equation of the circle whose center is at the origin and a radius which is 9? As you can see, based on the given that we have, the center is at the origin. Yes. So since the center is in the origin, we're going to use this equation. So what you're going to do, since the only given that we have in the problem is the radius, so what you're going to do is just simply substitute your r by 9. So no need to transpose or substitute the x because there's no center, because the center is in the origin. So what you're going to do is just simplify this 9 squared, and that is 81. Therefore, the standard form of the equation of the circle whose center is in the origin, that is x squared plus y squared, is equal to 81. Another example, given the equation of the circle, quantity x plus 1 squared plus the quantity of y plus 6 squared is equal to 25. What is the coordinate of the center and the radius? So in this example, what we're going to do is to identify the center and the radius. Now, as you can see, your equation is in the standard form. So take note, in standard form, madali nating makita ang HK in the equation. Okay? Remember that H is in the X and k is in the y. So here, the center, as we all know, that is hk. So we're going to get the opposite symbol of h and k. Once again, your h is in the x and k is in the y. So in this example, your h is the positive 1 and your k is positive 3. So once again, you're going to change the sign or get its opposite. So therefore, your C or the center is negative 1 and negative 6. For the radius, take note that is in r squared form. So what you're going to do is simply get its square root. So therefore, your r now will be 5 because that is the square root of 25. And of course, for the last example, given the equation of the circle x squared plus the quantity of y minus 2 squared is equal to 56, what is the coordinate of the center and the radius? Now, as you can see, your equation is in the standard form, so it is easy for us to identify the center of the circle. As we all know, this equation is in the HK. So your center is HK. Once again, your H is in the X, K is in the Y. Now, for the letter X, which is the H, as you can see in the given, there's no letter H because your X is just X squared. Nothing more, nothing less. So therefore, your H here will be 0. And for your K, take note that your K is in the Y, so that is negative 2. Get its opposite sign, and that is now the center. So therefore, your H is 0 and positive 2. And for the radius, take note its r squared is equal to 56. The r squared is the 56. So you get its square root. So the square root of 56 is not a perfect square. Or should I say 56 is not a perfect square. So what I'm going to do is just get its factors. We're going to get the factors of 56, wherein one of the factor is a perfect square. So the factors of 56, wherein one of the factor is a perfect square, that is 4 times 14. So ang gagawin lang po natin dito, we will just get the square root of 4. And as we all know, the square root of 4 is equal to 2. And then copy the remaining factor, which is the square root of 14. So therefore, this is now your radius, 2 and square root of 14. I hope that you learned in this video. Once again, thank you for watching. And if you are new to my YouTube channel, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell. And of course, do not forget to hit the like button. Goodbye.